people ask me how I style my hair a certain way, so here's the video. I usually start out with some kind of, I like to use this curling iron. It's probably about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches in diameter. Depending on the length of hair that you have, the tighter the curl, obviously the smaller the roll, the looser the curl, then, you know, the bigger the diameter. So I usually start with my hair. No product in it at all. I don't like to use a lot of product except for lots of hairspray, which you'll see later. But I basically start with the top, the back of the crown. I do a triangular hairbrush part so that I'm getting kind of this, you know, swooping. It kind of shortens the part. I don't like my part going all the way back. I think it looks kind of dorky. So what I do is with this first part, I just curl it back away from my head. And I like to have my curling on for really hot as possible, just so I don't have to hold the curling iron in my hair for a long time. Depends on what you prefer. Then I let that out and let it settle on that side of my head, and then I work on the right side of my head first because my hair tends to grow kind of in this circular pattern where it tends more the hair is on this side. I have a really strong part. But what's really important here to get the look that you're wanting is you want to make sure that the curling iron is covering almost all the hairs, because we're trying to do this kind of a corkscrew look. So you want to make sure that all the hair is touching as much as possible on the curling iron. So what I do is I take as many pieces. I think the thinner the pieces you take, the more curl and more coverage you're going to have. So it just depends on how much definition you want. If you're looking for just more softer waves and not as much curl, then you can take bigger pieces of hair. Again, I'm making sure that all the hair is in contact in this kind of a corkscrew fashion. And I'm curling it, all of these curls forward. The top one I curled back, so that you'll see why we do that later. So basically just go around the head. I like to separate a little bit and get more curl on the top. Also, if you have your hair cut a certain way, if you look, the ends here are cut at a diagonal. See that? I had my hairstylist cut that way so that the curls would gradually taper down, so that there'd be curls, you know, depending on how high on the head you want the curls to start, the shorter the layer is cut. But mine is very gradual, just a kind of a slight taper. So that also helps too, is to have a good, you know, a particular cut like that helps in getting this look as well. And I just curled the last one on the bottom kind of underneath. And then I take this top curl, the first one, flip it over to this side so I can work on the other side. And then I take a couple pieces of I have very long bangs for my bangs. Again, they're cut kind of tapered. The cut really does help. So see how there's a gradual taper all the way down. If you can get your hairstylist to cut your hair that way, you'll also achieve this look a lot easier. It really does make a difference to have that type of a cut. Again, I'm trying to get as much of the hair around the curling iron as possible so I can create that spiral effect. Okay. I have a lot of hair on this side of my head, so I tend to separate the pieces a little bit more than I would on the other side, just because of how my hair falls that way. think most of us have our hair that falls that way. And getting it as close to the head as possible too is really important, because it does assure that you're going to get more of that continuous curl all the way down from the root to the ends. My hair got really poofy and frizzy because I fell asleep on it with my hair up on my head, kind of messy overnight, and so because I have this natural curl in my hair, it gets really poofy when I let it dry on its own like that, as opposed to blow drying it straight. If the more volume that you want, I would suggest not blow drying your hair straight, because that straightens out, that smooths out the cuticle, which of course gives you that nice shiny look. But if you're looking for more volume, I would suggest letting your hair dry naturally, because your hair will it'll kind of create a little bit of texture, which you want for this style. You don't want to have too much smoothness unless you're looking for something a little bit more not so 1980s big hair, which I love. But if you're looking for something a little bit more sleek and soft and wavy, then yeah, I would encourage you to blow dry your hair and curl it the same way, this way. So as you can see, I'm getting all these little kind of Shirley Temple curls. That's basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to achieve that initial look, and then you'll see how I brush it out and style it with the hairspray. So again, I'm going all the way around. Oops, sometimes it's got to have it kind of tight towards the top there, and just gradually pull the curling iron closer. As it gets closer to the head, just gradually pull and release until you get all the way to the end. Because if you don't get the end in that curling iron, you're going to have this little kinky look at the end, and that looks that doesn't look good. So now we're down to the last piece. And again, I usually try and do either a spiral or I curl it directly under, but the longer your hair, you're going to want to kind of do this spiral covering the hair every time, because you just get more coverage that way. You get more curl over the length of the hair. So sometimes I let it cool for a while I'm putting on my makeup, but I already put on my makeup because I didn't want you to see how scary I was without makeup. But I have two different brushes that I use. This is, of course, a pick, which I'm sure you've seen before, and a regular styling brush. This brush will give you a smoother look. It will kind of pull out the curls and give you more waves. This look will kind of maintain the curls more. So it depends on what kind of look you want. And I like a lot of curl, so I just tend to kind of gently pick through. Okay. And you just kind of, depending on how much curl you want, you want to just gently, and you'll get that look. You'll get a wave already just from making those spiral curls. Okay. You just kind of brush it out a little. And then once you've kind of achieved the type of wave that you want, whether it be curlier or wavier, softer, I use super strong hairspray, and that's the key. I have very soft hair, so it's really important for me to use something really strong. And this I like because it maintains a moisture barrier, which, because with soft hair, anybody who has really soft hair tends to need, you know, kind of that moisture barrier so that the moisture in the air doesn't make your hair go flat, which was a big deal for people in the 80s when we had trying to achieve that big hair look. So what I do is I kind of just lift the hair like this. and spray. And then I spray the ends and kind of just cushion it a little. And if you want a little bit more height on top, take the top layers of the hair and just spray. And just keep doing that until you get the look that you want. The more hairspray and the more you pull up and let it sit there, the bigger the hair. Okay? And then I just do the other side. Again, it's really important not to touch the hair too much when you're spraying it, because the wetness of the spray is so sticky, you really actually end up messing up the curl that you defined with the hairbrush. So you want to just kind of be gingerly about not touching it too much, but you're just merely setting the curl. Okay, so that's how I get my look, and it's a lot of fun. It doesn't take that long, about 10 minutes. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope you enjoyed the video.